Here with a bunch of.
Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Paul Cuny excused. Robert Litterway.
Here.
Brent Beebe.
Here.
Carol Shannon here, Dave Torgerson here. Okay, I'm good.
Yep. We have a quorum. Agenda's in front of you. Anything you want to add? Subtract? Talk about? Not. Agenda will stand, unanimous consent. And now we have the consent agenda. Anything to take out to discuss? Anybody? Okay, Gerald, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by PV to accept the consent agenda, seconded by
Or.
support. Mr. Support. Mr. Laraway, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the people that have applied for the council positions. We have 7, which is more than we've had before. And also, I want to thank Tim and his staff, DPW and everything else, and Mally for carrying us through the storm better than Isabella County did. So we could get out to Coldwater Road. Now, Coldwater Road is a different story, but we could at least get there.
Yes.
So, you guys did a yeoman's job. I know you didn't get much sleep because I got a call early in the morning and late at night. And taking care of the trees.
In addition to the heating problems here in the office.
Well, that's what I was gonna mention next. And then to the staff for handling that emergency here with the heating problem on Monday, which was very quick and efficient. So,
Excellent job.
yes, we are in good hands and we thank you for all that. So with that, Mr. Embry is here from Isabella County Commission to talk and answer questions.
Again. Good evening, folks.
Yes.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. I appreciate it greatly. I just wanted to relay some information. I brought you a fact sheet that the county's put out regarding the millage, the 2.5 millage with no request. I think it's real important to point some of these things out. 46 years, the county's never asked for an increase in an operating millage. How many of us have been around 46 years in this area? That's a long time. And during that 46 years, think about all the things that have increased in cost during those 46 years. And especially the last several years with COVID, the shrinking workforce, labor force, the ability to hire, it's become more and more and more difficult. We've had positions that have been open for not just months, but years, that we can't fill because we can't find people that will take the position for the money that we're offering. It's very unfortunate to be understaffed, unable to provide the level of service that we all should expect from our county services. I know there's some misinformation that was out in the paper this last week, a lot of misinformation. It was in a op-ed article. The 38% signs that you see all around the county now are based out of Lansing. The group apparently was contacted in Lansing and they helped put these signs together. They don't know anything about what's going on here in Isabella County. They just help them put the signs together and people are putting them out, not knowing the facts. The facts is this. I calculated my mother's increase in tax with a 2.5 mils. Comes out to roughly between $11 and $12 a month to maintain the services that we have currently. Now, when she saw the 38% sign, as I'm taking her to the doctor, thought she was gonna fall out of the car. Because she was like, I can't afford that. I can't increase my taxes by 38%. I said, that's misinformation. Plain and simple. The 38% comes from dividing the 2.5 into the current existing 6.61. And you come up with 38%. So the millage levy will increase by 38%, but that's your overall tax. Comes down to, like I said, $10, $11. If you have $200,000 taxable, you're looking at $25, $26 a month. I'm not saying that's feasible for everybody. I'm not saying that at all. But understand, it's not 38%. Our taxes that we bring in, real property taxes, accounts for about 58% of our revenue. Over the course of the last 46 years, we worked very hard as a county to bring in funding outside of asking taxes from our taxpayers. That's why we haven't come back in 46 years, because we've been able to find the money. We haven't increased our staffing levels at the county. There was something about the cost of the sheriff's department. Well, I can tell you this, with the competition to try to find officers in the state police department, just graduated 58, 60 new cadets, won't even cover the retirees of those that have resigned. The state police is doing no better. They can't even get the people they need to cover the positions they have open. So as far as staffing levels are concerned, we haven't increased our staffing levels. The big thing that has occurred though is the cost of labor. I know there's one item on here that I think I mentioned before, and that has to do with our retirement benefit package that was offered to all of the Isabella County employees prior to 2002. And that was a defined benefit program, which means that you were going to get a 7% increase every year, guaranteed. And if the market didn't reflect the 7% increase, then the county would make it up. Well, as an example, last year alone, the market was 12% down. So you take the 12% down in the market, you add the 7%, that means that we as a county have to come up with 19% of all the defined benefit packages that we have to pay out. Counted, it really hurt us to the tune of close to $3 million a year for the next 5 years, starting in 2025. So the economy going into the tank the way it did, the stock market taking such a big hit, it's going to cost the county. So they did discontinue it in 2002. Thankfully they did, because just think of what it could be. We now have a defined contribution plan where you pay it and you get whatever the market gives you. So once we, based on our budget projections, once we get past the 2032 fiscal year, things start to even out. So that's why we've asked for the 6 years. It's going to take us 6 years to work our way through this, just trying to stay the course, and keep the water out of the boat. So I just want to make that real clear that I would like to see us get back to square one within 6 years. My intention is to cut that millage from 2.5 after maybe 3 or 4 years. Do the things that we have to do to tighten our belt and drop it to 2 mills, to 1.5, to maybe even 1 mill. So that by the time we get to the 5th year, we're only asking for 1 mill instead of 2.5, because we don't need the money. If we don't need the money, I'm not gonna keep taking the money. I mean, I'm a member of the finance committee, and the chair of the finance committee and I are both on the same page. We're not gonna keep digging into your pocket for 6 years if we don't need to. So I just wanna make that real clear from my standpoint. Being on the finance committee, I won't accept that. So, I don't know if you have any other questions for me. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. Glad they debunk any of it. If you're interested.
When did you guys put stuff on the website? Because it wasn't on there last week.
Right,
This stuff didn't exist.
that's
So
correct.
that's why there's a lot of misinformation, is because there was no information.
And that's correct. Now, to that end, when we decided to push for this millage, we originally thought of April or May actually. And then we thought, well, we need to get a barometer of what the taxpayers think now, as opposed to pushing it further and further back and creating a shorter time span within which we have time to make adjustments. if we need to make adjustments, if it comes back 60-40 no, well, that's a pretty strong message. That means that we're gonna have to make significant cuts, and we'll make the cuts we need to make, and we wanna start making them now. We're not gonna wait around until, say, August and put the village request back up and just keep our fingers crossed and stay the course and keep paying the bills the way we are. We're gonna start making cuts now. The chair of the finance committee and myself, as well as the chair of the board, they are all on board with this idea of making cuts immediately. So we pushed it to February so that we can get a real good idea what taxpayers think. And we're gonna start taking action immediately. So therein lies that we didn't get information out ahead of this. These people jumped on it and it's out there now.
Is there money enough to finish the jail?
Yes,
From where? From
our general budget that we have, our current. Right now, I want to back up just a little bit. Just prior to me coming on board at Board of Commissioners, they had never really had a 5 and 10-year forecasting tool. Which to me, I'm sure to you and to me was hard to believe. They never really looked very far out. So when you start incorporating a budgeting tool, a forecasting tool into your forecasting and your budgeting, it shows that we're $4 to $6 million a year in the hole. Now we have our working fund, which had 20 million, which is a pretty decent amount of money. But as you see, we're gonna have to, starting this year, dip into that to the tune of $4-5 million. Well, that's only gonna get you until 2025, 2026, really, before we're completely out of money and would be running in the red without substantial cuts. So that's,
So you've changed that. You're going to have forecasting, you're going to
Yeah.
plan, because it's like the retirement. I was involved in schools did retirement, but we looked ahead
Right.
to what the market would be and knew what we could offer and afford. It doesn't look like that
that
happened.
did not happen. There were opportunities that were missed based on what was going on. I can see there were opportunities missed, and myself being on the finance committee, I commit to this idea of reducing the millage if I can, so that it doesn't stay at 2.5. So that when we get to the end of this, we're not coming back and asking for 2.5 again for another 6 years. To me, that makes no sense.
That's the danger.
That's the danger,
Yeah.
exactly. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do, whatever cuts need to be made, that we need to make at the county level to get us back to where we can operate at just say we did come back and ask for 1 mil. 1 mil for the average person is gonna be what? $5 a month? Probably by then.
Sheriff Maine was there when he spoke with us. He wasn't real, and I could be wrong, but it didn't seem like he was real convinced that the jail would help pay for itself, because when the jail was first proposed, it was supposed to take on extra convicts that aren't gonna show up.
Well, again, we have this,
So, yeah.
you get the no
but-
cash bail thing that came through.
Yes,
Right.
but so what, I guess I don't understand how they're going to make up whatever perceived shortfall they had.
Well, no, the thing is obviously we incorporated that into our thinking back then, when they were putting this project together. That was part of their thinking, was to get, you had
Yes,
our own people that we were gonna take care of, that were pay
Yes.
bail. You had the other departments around the area, the other sheriffs were gonna be asking us for beds. And then you had the feds who were also gonna ask for beds. Barry Delu did that. That's one thing that was pointed out that Barry did bring in. It was that to bring in outside
yes.
people to fill the jail, and we made money off it. Well, it doesn't happen anymore. Not only does the state have a no cash bond situation, the feds are moving in that direction as well. So they just don't have the people, who don't have a need for beds. So we're gonna have a sheriff's facility that more than likely won't be full.
And so where's that money gonna come from?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It is gonna come from our operational budget.
Okay,
It is. And we're looking at probably,
so indirectly, we're help subsidizing the jail.
that, again, it will be because of what's happened, right? I think it's, the way I looked at it, from the budget projections that I looked at, roughly $300,000 a year.
See, and cash bail's been out there longer than when this bail was planned, and nobody looked at that again. See, that's the issue right now, is you're asking for money to cover things that should have been done right and weren't. And so we're needing to spend our personal cash to support a business that didn't do it right.
That's right. And I'm not gonna argue that at all.
Yeah.
Coming in new, and seeing it just exactly the way you see it. Although, the only thing I can do is say, I'm gonna commit to the member of the finance committee, to stay on top of this and make sure that we can get this millage reduced over the 6 years and earn your trust again. Because personally, I wouldn't trust us either, given that we've dropped the ball for however many years, in my opinion. I would have a hard time trusting the powers that be if they kept coming to me over and over again and asked for more and more money.
You've got the sum of the problem right there.
Yeah,
So that's all I can tell you, is I'm gonna do my best, stay on the finance committee and make sure that, we get this under control and we can pay our own bills without having to come back and ask you to pay for it.
How did the jail decide to get built? Like, was it an internal decision, like where the voters asked? I don't,
Well, that was a situation, my understanding was, in the beginning, there was a real need for the jail because again, it was built in the 50s. It became obsolete. It doesn't even, it won't even pass an inspection with the Department of Corrections. It has so many things wrong with it, both mechanical and as far as operationally is concerned. And there's no way we could continue to operate with it without expending millions of dollars to renovate it. So I guess the decision was made, as opposed to spend 10 or $15 million to renovate, they chose to go ahead and look into a new facility. Originally, the new facility was going to be a lot less expensive than what it ended up being. Costs rising the way they have, they went back and what they call value engineered the entire structure, to try to get as much money out of it as they could, and they got it down to $42 million. And that was the bond that we applied for with the feds, the 2.125 interest rate. So the bond payment is $340,000 a year. We have a $32 million budget. So it is a part of it that we're gonna have to pay every year, but $300,000 and $32 million budget, we can work with that. We can make that happen. But
so it was internal.
yeah, it was internal.
so what costs are going to be involved with the old jail then?
Right now, it's on a hold to do anything with the jail, especially after the asbestos issue within the county building, which is now projecting engineers and architects potentially $4.5 to $5.5 million to get us back in the building. So,
Make an addition to the jail.
in addition to the jail.
Just use the extra cell, that's all you need to do.
It would be great. It would be good. It's a tough place to be in. When I took this position, I had gone to a lot of meetings for the entire year prior, never heard of any of all of this stuff until I walked in the door at, the week before I took office. And all of a sudden I start hearing all of these different things that are going on. It was pretty eye-opening to me to see how we had been operating. And this is nothing against, the people that are there, but obviously there were opportunities that were missed. Okay, and I can't deny that. So my feeling is I'm going to eliminate as many of those opportunities as I can while I'm there, because I don't want to be a part of what's happened in the past. So I can assure you that I'm going to do my part. Okay. I hope you understand. I have probably 250, 260 family members.
Yeah, you get a lot of feedback.
Oh boy! And if any of you know my Uncle Joe Clark,
Yeah.
yeah, nothing compares to Joe. Yes.
Ballpark, what's your current unfunded liability in the pension?
Unfunded liability.
Ballpark.
It's about $20 million.
Have you guys looked at bonding out on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Cause that to me is where I think a lot of this problem started, when you close that plant, well, not you, but
Right.
when the county closed it 20 years ago, they didn't deal with the problem then by bonding out.
That's
So
right.
that's magnified and snowballed to the point where it's at, so,
They hope that the market would cover them.
yeah, but
And it
it's simple math, when you have less people paying in,
Yeah.
like sooner or later, nobody's paying in but the county itself.
That's
And
right.
therein lies the problem.
That's exactly right, sir. Yep, so that unfunded liability now falls directly at our feet. Now, actually, your feet.
Sure.
If you don't, it's okay.
No, yeah.
Is there, I haven't seen the latest updated on the website. Is there a list besides the sheriff road patrol, what other services would possibly be cut? Because when I talk to people right now in public, the road patrol they seem to know about, but I'm trying to express to them, that's not just it. There are other stuff, and then when they ask me why, I don't really have an answer, so.
Correct.
So,
So the reason you hear the road patrol being mentioned, because it is the biggest department and can have the most impact on the cuts that we do make. It's a non-mandated service, and it can have the most impact on whatever deficit we run into. If we're looking at $4 million, after we make all kinds of cuts, we go from 6 to 4 million, then we're gonna have to start making even deeper cuts, and that'll come primarily and most likely from road patrol. That's an unmandated service. I don't know if you heard the sheriff. I know we have a county near us that cut out their road patrol 8 years ago. Montcalm, yep, cut that out, and they still can't get, they haven't been able to get the road patrol back together after all these years, even after getting a millage pass, public safety millage pass. They can't build their road patrol up because no one will go to work there because they're afraid that it's gonna get cut again. Why would you move there, move your family there if there's a chance that it might get cut again? So that's the biggest potential savings that we can have. So you have anything that's unmandated is going to be on the block, if you will. And that will be at the finance committee. We will be looking at, we already have a cut list put together. And I don't want to come out and say, we're going to cut this, this, and this like immediately.
mhm.
That needs to be vetted thoroughly. It has to be a joint decision by the board as to what's going to get cut and how, to what extent. But we do have a cut list together that prioritizes the most important services that we provide to the community, to our county. And we're gonna be, and the reason, like I said, we mentioned before, about doing this now, as opposed to waiting to 2025 or 2026 when the stuff really does hit the fan. We want to do it now, be thoughtful, be prudent, be diligent in our conversations, and not feel like we have to make a knee-jerk reaction that adversely affects a lot of people that we could have otherwise not negatively impacted. So we want to try to minimize the impact, but still make the cuts. So we've got a cut list that's prioritized, and depending on what happens on February 27th will dictate to what extent these departments get cut. Right, so I apologize, I can't elaborate any
No,
further,
that's fine.
because again, I don't want a mass exodus tomorrow.
I would just rather tell people up front,
Yes,
these are the things you could possibly lose, not committing to that, that's what's gonna be, I understand that, but sometimes I see people, well, so what if the sheriff patrol's gone, we still got state troopers, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. But so if you ever had to wait for a state trooper to show up,
yeah,
it isn't minutes, it's hours, so, so I would have liked to see some kind of list out, saying these are other potential service cuts or whatever, so the people can look at it as more than just the road patrol,
that's something that I'll address, that we could
Okay.
put out there, but again, we have to walk that fine line.
so.
You know, because people are gonna bail. You start saying, well, we're gonna cut this many staff from this department.
Mhm.
All of a sudden we'll walk in and there won't be anybody there.
You don't have to cut them.
We won't have to cut them, that's right. But
That's
again, you
even
know,
better.
well,
You don't have to pay unemployment or severance packages or anything like that.
I think a complicating factor to that is right now, the county deputizes all the municipal departments in the county. Shepherd's deputized the city. My understanding is gonna be that if the road patrol goes away, Sheriff Maine is not looking to deputize those departments any longer because he doesn't want to place that burden on them to police outside their jurisdiction to respond to calls. So.
Yeah, I think it's terrible that the police department's gonna take the hit, but I mean, I think that that's a little skewed as well, like, not one cut's been made yet, like, you guys are way short on money, like, there should have been major cuts already, like,
agreed.
in your budget, your healthcare went up 9%. 0 passed on to each employee.
Correct.
9% is 9%. You gotta be moving the right way before you ask for more money.
Right.
Like, why not increase some healthcare costs,
And that's something we are definitely looking at moving forward. At this point, when we made that decision, we had already had a hiring freeze for the last year, even the year prior to me coming on board. So as opposed to continuing with, increasing our health costs, passing it on to the employee, we felt it was important to keep it where it is. And we absorbed the 9% increase in order to keep the people that we do have. We want to show good faith to them that we believe in what they're doing. And almost every department is running understaffed.
Of your 256, how many of them ballpark are covered by a labor agreement?
That's I don't have the exact number for that, but there is quite a few that's covered by the labor agreement. And that we're tied into for the number of years of contract. So,
And then, I'm guessing if you do had to cut, your projections do include your unemployment benefits, because like us, we're direct pay. So you'll pay those directly.
correct, the unemployment costs.
Yeah.
That'll hit us hard.
Yeah.
It really will. We're self-insured in that respect. So I agree, with your point. Prior to me coming on board, this should have been obvious to everybody and things should have been addressed along the way, as opposed to allowing it to kind of build up to this point. But the moment I walked in the door and I saw what we're up against, I said, we need to get out there. We need to tell people where we're at. We can't wait until 2026 and then just say, oops, sorry, we need 2.5 mils like now, otherwise we shut down. Better to be upfront and honest right from the beginning, as far as I'm concerned, from the time that I've gotten on board. Just to be upfront with you, be transparent, tell you exactly where we're at, tell you how bad it really is, and ask for your help. If you choose to help us, great. If not, then you've given us the mandate to do what we have to do. We'll make the cuts, we'll make the changes. Not gonna be pretty by any stretch. It's gonna hurt a lot of people. And my feeling is this: the people that we're gonna hurt are the people that need the services the most. Most of us don't need a lot of the services that we provide. But people that do need it are the ones that are gonna get really hurt. Because they're not gonna have what they need to get where they need to get and do the things they need to be able to do. So, that's an unfortunate thing, but you're gonna give us that mandate on the 27th, we'll start from there. So
What was the shortfall year?
the shortfall year is was to begin in 2026, but
By how
now
much? Like, what's the dollar amount?
4 million.
4 million a year?
And it goes up from there, goes 4 to 4.5, 5, 6. For at least 5 years. So we have this big challenge ahead of us. Now with the addition of the asbestos issue with the county building, that took that extra $4 million that we thought would get us into 2026, and I was pushed it back, and we're looking at now. About the same time next year is gonna be crunch time. So. Not a pretty sight, not a pretty picture at all. Not at all. So, any other questions for me? I appreciate your time and allowing me to be here to speak. Appreciate your questions. Like I said, I think it's important we just get the information out there. We try to be as factual as we can. Just lay the facts out there and let you guys decide, tell us what you want us to do. And we'll get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for the presentation.
Yeah.
And the fact sheet.
Yes, that was helpful.
I will leave more here. You mentioned the website.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, you go onto it now, you'll see a lot more information. Shortly, you'll see, the billboard. What is that again? Billboard's in the corner of
I'm going north, and then out around, yeah.
Lincoln and 20. That big
Not Lincoln, no. Mission and High,
mission.
yeah, going northbound.
Going northbound. So you see a big board there, they'll start, with relaying the facts. What you got is here, any other facts that we can put up will be constantly going up. There'll be more things going out. You'll shortly get a flyer in the mail. This exact same thing will go out to every single resident of the county. And again, with information that you can go to on our website, and frequently asked questions. The information will be there. Best we can get out there.
Digital board that's on, trying to place where that was.
So, yes, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. No. Important information. Anybody else? Mr. Manager, your report?
Yeah, good evening. Go through a few items here real quickly. The state of Michigan, through the Department of Eagle, Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, has approved the application submitted for the Birch Bay dredging project. That'll remove up to 9,334 cubic yards of spoils from the bay. The Lake Committee met earlier this afternoon at 4 p.m. to put the final touches on an RFP that we hope to have out on Monday to request proposals to perform that work. Right now, we are gonna list the lagoon property as the final home for the spoils with the caveat that we may have an alternative closer location. We just haven't sorted that one out yet, but we want to get moving on it. You know, project's looking good.
The only fly in the ointment is the weather.
Yes, weather's a huge factor, and, you know, we discussed that as part of the RFP process, that while we would, I believe, love to have it done this winter or spring, you know, weather conditions may prevent it until fall. You know, that's something that we're gonna have to address in the RFP process and have in there, you know, some type of fuel clause, because it's gonna involve trucking, so, you know, we would be willing to, you know, renegotiate if diesel goes above a certain price per gallon, you know, if we have to wait till fall, but all in all, I think the project is as good as we can do right now until we actually have millage money in hand. We did talk a lot today too about timing of future permits, and you know, kind of the sequence of events that we're looking at is hopefully we get Birch Bay this spring, if not this fall. Par Beach would also be one of the top priorities. But looking ahead to the fall of 25, when we do the river, you know, we're gonna have roughly a third to half of this year's millage capture saved, plus whatever we get next year on our 3 mills that we have for that. You know, but beginning the permit process on that a year out as opposed to 3 to 4 months out, you know, because we wanna make sure that we don't end up as a red file at EPA because it's over 10,000 cubic yards, or if they lump things together. So we want to give ourselves that cushion so that when we do have the funds in hand, we can go right ahead with the project and get the river done, because that is a high priority. As Village President Torgerson mentioned, we had some heating and cooling and well issues here at the office. Over the last week, in case you hadn't noticed, it was cold. The building starting to get above 65. And so we brought in McGuire. We have a geothermal system, and said, you know, there's nothing wrong with the geo, it might be a well issue. So then we had Mally come out on Friday, looked at everything, pulled the well, said, you've got a buildup of manganese, this black slimy mineral, which if you pull the top of the tanks off the toilet, put a chlorine tablet in, the inside's all black. So I mean, it's been in the water for a while. It's, you know, not toxic, it's not harmful, but it does clog up everything. So on Monday, we pulled the well, we put a new pump in, we put a new feeder tube in, we chlorinated. That required us to take the geo offline because you couldn't pump while it chlorinated. And we've been in this building since September 11th of 2007. One day in that history has someone came in and asked us for water. It was Monday. Like, you cannot make this up. Like, he walks in with a jug, like, I need some water. I'm like, no, sorry, we can't help you. And then another person came, hey, I just need to use your bathroom. Like, can't help you, we don't have water. But we got everything cycled through by the end of the day, chlorination cleaned up, you know, a good chunk of the manganese that was built up in the pipes. Thankfully, we don't have a lot of fixtures. There's 2 bathrooms, there's here, and then there's the, you know, one of the sink in the utility room, but everything's back up and running. The geo, we've got the emergency heat situations in there, so we were able to keep the building at a comfortable temperature Monday, even with the main pump offline. So everything's good to go there. You know, for being 16 years old, our geo is still in pretty good shape is what McGuire's saying. You know, so they only last about 15, but yours is still in good shape, so. Knock on wood. Yesterday, I had a very enlightening phone call with the Census Bureau about our request for a recount, and they're adamant that $280,000 is a very good estimate of what it would cost to come out and do a census in the village.
I'll take that contract.
Oh, here's where, you know, roughly about 40% of that is because you've got to hire a supervisor. Like, well, are we hiring a supervisor for the whole year? No, usually it's about, you know, 2 to 3 months. Like, you realize this is more than my payroll for almost 2 years to run the entire town, right? Like, we could do this ourselves for significantly less. So that option's realistically off the table. My next move is gonna be to follow up through either our state senator or our state rep to reach out to the state demographer's office. The state demographer's office is the one that gives MDOT and Treasury, these are the official numbers that you have to enter in for all of your formulas. And see if there's anything that they would accept other than a special census to do a recount. There are other ways you can do it short of, you know, the Census Bureau. I don't know if the state of Michigan is gonna be willing to accept that or not. And if they say no to that, you know, I think we're kind of out of luck, because 280,000 is roughly what we would make over the full decade for that extra 10% in our street fund. So to me, there's not a lot of merit to go forward at that point in time.
Logic has no sense. We have over 1,000 homes and they say we only have 1,800 people.
1,800, yeah. Well, and I brought that up. I said, you know, we went through the CQR process. We gave you GIS maps that showed you that you undercounted all these homes, and the response back was, we could only enumerate the homes that we knew about. You know, whatever. It's federal government. Working on a grant application through MISTA. They have a program out right now for, housing readiness, planning work, that kind of stuff. We are in year 5 of our master plan, so we do have to update that this year. Our master plan that we have right now, one of the key functions that we built it around at the time was, through the Regional Council of Governments, every county got a target market analysis done for housing. And the 3 biggest municipalities also got included. So us, Shepherd, and Mount Pleasant had our own little like appendix in these. I would like to have that updated, and the only way we could afford doing that is if we get this grant, because it's $45,000.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that was a crazy amount of money, but.
Got to hire a supervisor.
For 3 months. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on with that, to get money to hopefully get that done. We can do it as part of our master plan, because, you know, our economic development strategy centers entirely around people living here and building homes. And, you know, one of the problems that we've run into in that is that since 2008, you're not seeing people building, you know, starter home type projects. Since there's so few builders, they're booked out so far in advance with big projects that there's not a lot of people that are coming in to build, you know, the 1,400 square foot ranch houses that we were seeing in 2000 and 2004, you know. We need those. We need those as a community. We need those as a region. You know, not everyone can afford the 3,000 square foot, you know, big house by the lake. I mean, we have to have diversity in our housing stock and diversity in our community for us to function as a good unit of government, in my opinion. So hopefully we can get that. Hopefully we can use that to entice development around, you know, more starter home type friendly options for people in the community in various areas. We've just wrapped up our Christmas tree collection for the year. We did it online this year. We put some ads out on Facebook, but literally all you had to go is go to our website, you enter your address, and when the crew was out, email came to me, came to Jerry, we went out and picked it up. You know, I think we picked up probably 20 or so, give or take. We've got roughly about the same number, 15 to 20 right now signed up for home checks. So we share that list with the sheriff. So when they're out doing the patrol through contract, they can check them. We have code enforcement check them. You know, it's just simple, just go around, check, you know, make sure the doors are locked, that kind of stuff. No issues so far. You know, just getting that visibility out in the community that, you know, we're out there, the sheriff's out there. And last but not least, gentle reminder, everyone got this through email, but on the dais as well. This is a season of training through the Michigan Association of Planning. March is when they typically offer these. There's several opportunities if anyone would like to attend these. Some are virtual. This is obviously shared with Planning Commission and ZBA members. We have obviously a training strategy as part of our RRC process, but also our property and liability insurance company. We can apply for a grant to be reimbursed for 75% of the cost for the successful completion of zoning board of appeals, advanced zoning board of appeals, probably non-conformities, planning zoning essentials, you know, all we need is the certificate they get when they complete it, so we can submit that with their application, but, if anyone's interested in any of these, let me know. I'm gonna do, I think, probably 2 of them myself. We've got a couple planning commission members and a ZBA member that also said they would like to do, at least one of these, so. That is my extent of my report for you fine lady and gentlemen tonight.
Any questions for Tim? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Tim. Okay. Mr. Gray, Sherman Township.
To make it quick tonight, sewer system update. So a year ago this month, that we were told that we were gonna be getting our enforcement letter telling us what we were gonna have to do. We still have not gotten it from the state, from Lansing, so, we have done some work in Waveman itself with doing some videoing of the drains that are already there. Most of the drains on the west side of the city are plugged with either sand or rips and stuff like that, so in some sense, I don't think it's any E. coli getting through because there's no way for the water to get through in the first place. So we've also done a couple of other spots on Woodruff to where we dug a 6 or 8 foot hole. That's right where some of the drains all meet together, and they wanted to start doing some testing in there. No water coming through into that either. So, our confidence is going up a little bit that maybe the sewer system isn't gonna be something forced on us, but knowing the government, you know, who knows, so. But that's where an update we're at with that stuff right now. Cemetery wise, we finished up with our, decision on how we're gonna handle Bennett Cemetery. We're now working on the Sherman and Forest Hill cemeteries. Most of those, we're just redoing plots, renaming, renumbering, figuring out where we want to be able to allow, regular burials. We're also doing, now instead of having 4 plots, doing dual plots, so just like for a husband and wife or whatever only. And we're also looking at where we're gonna allow cremains. Cremains have become more and more popular because of the cost and stuff like that too, so we wanna make sure we have enough room in each of them. Except where we wanna put cremains in from there, so. What was the other thing? Oh, we are gonna be looking for a new maintenance person. Our maintenance person that's currently doing our stuff right now is gonna retire in November. So he's done, so if you guys happen to run into anybody who's looking for a part-time, possibly full-time in the summer type position, can you have them contact either myself or Denise Hall or somebody, not Denise Hall, Denise Livermore, the clerk, so we can try to, I'd like to try to get somebody in place before he retires, so.
Is that a year-round position?
It is a year-round, but it's more busy, obviously it's busier in the spring and summer and fall, less in the winter, but they also do maintenance like in the library, in the Sherman Parks, you know, there are some other maintenance things like that that could be done in the winter, but the majority of it's spring, summer, and fall, so opening, closing, maintaining that stuff, so. And then lastly, just in case you guys aren't aware or up to date, the election for February 27th, you are going to be able to go in and vote up to 9 days prior to the Tuesday election. That election spot is being held at Stadium Mall. The clerk has a office or a building or whatever rented there. That's where they're gonna be doing all of the voting. So you'll be able to vote for those different 9 days. I believe it's 8 hours a day, but I don't remember the actual hours. I'm pretty sure it's on the website for the county. So if you need to get more direct hours that way too. Otherwise, it'll be February 27th will be your normal election spots, either Sherman or Brookfield Township, so. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions? Thank you, Mr. Gray. Full report? I don't think there is one.
Nope.
All right, no public hearing. Portion of the meeting is for public comments. Please give your name and address for the record if you have some public comment, and try to keep your comments down to about 3 minutes.
I just have one, Jeff Gray, 1009 Pequina, if you don't know by now, so. You mentioned the geothermal system and stuff like that. I know with it being as old as it is, if there continue to be problems and stuff like that, it might be worthwhile looking and changing over from an open loop to closed loop system to where we would actually have the pipes buried in the ground, either horizontally or vertically. And it runs fluid through there constantly through a pump, but that's what I've done in my house, switch from open to closed. My rates actually have gone down because of how efficient the closed loop is. It's not cheap to do it, but in the long run, we're talking 25 years of service and generally on a geothermal system like that. That might be the next step to look into with closed loop for here if it needs it.
You run glycol through it instead of water, right?
Pardon?
Instead of pump and dump, it runs glycol through the system.
Yeah, right, it's water through the pipe with glycol in it, but it's a closed loop system.
Yeah.
Any other public comment?
I'm not sure if this is the right form or not, but down,
Name and address.
Gary Behringer, 1110 Clubhouse Drive.
Okay.
The South Park playground, how would I request like a possible look at the update for like the playground equipment for the kids
That would be the LIPOA.
with all
Yeah, that would be them. That's in charge of the parks.
in charge of equipment?
Yep, they do everything in the parks. That's their baby.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Okay, existing business, MDOT contract. Mr. Manager.
Your first item of new business tonight, or existing business, I'm sorry, is the approval of the contract from MDOT for our category B grant project that we have planned for, this spring. You may recall that we received $169,000 and change to resurface Clubhouse Drive from Coldwater to just past South Park. It's gonna be a mill and fill project. This covers 50%, so it's a $340,000 project, give or take. MDOT has submitted the standard contract form as part of the grant process. The village charter requires that the clerk sign it. So it's not something I could sign, so the council needs to formally approve the agreement so that the clerk can sign it, please.
Any questions? Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept the MDOT contract.
Motion made by Peavy to accept the MDOT Category B project,
I could second it.
seconded by Shannon. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Robert Laraway,
Yeah.
Brent Peavy,
Yes.
Carol Shannon, yes. Paul Cuny, Dave Torgerson.
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, cool.
4-0. New business, resolution 2024-1.
Your first item tonight under new business is the adoption of a very simple, short, one-page policy that puts the structure in place so that in the future, if we need to do an interfund loan, there is a policy and procedure in place for the process that has to be followed. Essentially, we have to have a resolution that establishes which fund it's coming to, what it's going to, what the interest rate is, if any, repayment terms. This is coming to you because one of the projects we've talked about this year is Birch Bay dredging. Our millage money does not come in until the summer tax bill, which goes out in July. So if we wanted to do a significant project this spring, we need to borrow from our general fund to be repaid through that millage amount. That request obviously hasn't come in because we haven't gone out for the RFP. But laying the groundwork for that process, this resolution would set the parameters for how we would do that loan when that day comes for you guys to issue your approval.
And for future,
For future, yeah.
not just this one, but maybe later on. Any discussion? Okay. Chair will entertain a motion. There's only 4 of us, guys.
Okay, I'll do it.
Shannon.
And I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Shannon moves that we accept the resolution 2024-01, seconded by Laraway. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Robert Laraway,
Yes.
Brent Peavy,
Yes.
Carol Shannon, yes. Dave Torgerson.
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Approval of mercantile money market accounts.
Your second item of new business tonight would be the approval of opening an account with Mercantile Bank. We bank with Isabella Bank. I did call and speak to Greg Mapes, Vice President of the bank, and let him know what we were doing, why we were doing it, and that we weren't, offended or upset with Isabella Bank, but given the uniqueness of the lake restoration project and the desire for both our organization and the association for that group to have autonomy from the motherships, we thought it was appropriate to have their money in a bank that is not the bank of either organization. After looking around, Mercantile Bank did reach out to us and say, hey, we've got this money market option, and we think it'd be a good fit. So the details are in your packet, but there is a deposit fee over $15,000 a month. If you go over that amount, it's 20 cents for every $100. There's really about 3 months of the year where we might hit that: July, August, September, when we're doing our tax collection. I provided the Lake Restoration Committee accounting summary, basically projected out to December of 25, showing these are all the realistic expenses I think we can have. Here's the realistic based on our past tax collections in terms of percentage by month, what we would bring in. During that time, you're looking at $707 in prospective fees and $13,400 in interest earned, because this account comes at a 5.5% interest. To me, that's a no-brainer. If you go with the no fee option, you're not going to get anywhere close to that rate. So you're not going to have the net positive that you would. And quite frankly, the more interest money that we can make, the more of the administrative parts of this project we can push off and fund that way in terms of permitting and testing, so that the dollars that come in through the taxes get put in the lake bottom. And that's the hope that we have. The approval would need to also designate 4 signers. We've talked about this a little bit, that it would make sense, I think, to have 2 from our organization, 2 from theirs, that are on the lake committee. My recommendation would be Dave and Carol. And from the association, I talked with Norm, the committee chair. He said Norm himself and Bill Keelan would be the 2 from their organization. So you guys are already in a lot, signing checks. It's kind of a no-brainer, I think, on our end. So.
Okay.
I would agree with that, and that would also motion that we approve the mercantile account with the 4 designated signers.
He's just Johnny on the spot, isn't he?
Motion made by Fairway.
20 cents on 100, that's like 22%.
0.002. Yeah. So like the most you're gonna, we typically, our big collection month is August. It's typically where we see like 43% come in. You're looking at $200 that month. If the whole account, you're looking at 600 in interest that month.
Right.
To me, it's.
Okay. Motion made by Laraway to accept approval of Mercantile money market accounts
With the
designated signers that Tim mentioned. Seconded by Peavy. Discussion? Seeing none, let's call roll call, please.
Brian Peavy,
Yes.
Carol Shannon, yes. Robert Laraway,
Yes.
Dave Jorgensen.
Yes. Motion carries. Agenda item 10.3, letter of resignation.
Councilmember Al Davis has regrettably submitted his letter of resignation. He no longer resides in the village proper. Same with Mr. Keel, even though they own property here and, are here a fair amount of time, they no longer reside within the community, which makes them ineligible to hold public office per our charter. Mr. Davis has built a house out on Rollin Road, just outside the village. So once the council accepts this, as my cover memo details, it starts the 42-day shot clock, which means you would have until March the 6th to fill it as a board. The Charlie Keel resignation, that 42-day shot clock ends on the 31st of this month, I believe. Of this month. So, and that's important because the village charter requires that the affirmative vote of 4 council members is how business is transacted. And if you cannot agree as a council within 42 days, the village president is then empowered by the charter to make the appointment. So, you have until the 31st to fill Charlie's seat. After you accept this, you'll have until March 6th to fill Al Davis's seat. The first step would be a motion to accept with regret, Mr. Davis's resignation.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Seconded by, Commission makes a motion to accept the, with regret, letter of resignation from Al Davis, seconded by Laraway. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. No, mayor's motion carries. Okay, village council vacancy.
Well, it just so happened that we were soliciting for applicants after Charlie Keel's resignation. So now you have 2 places to fill. You have 7 applicants. I believe 3 of them are in the building tonight. We advertised in the paper, on Facebook, on the board out front. We had an article in the Morning Sun. It's on our website. You have all the application materials that were collected from the 7 individuals in front of you tonight. And with that, this is no longer my time to talk. You guys figure this out.
That's all.
And you gave us the 7th one today.
Correct, yep.
Emo.
Emo, yep. Oh, he's here tonight. Harry's here and Jason's here, right?
Okay.
Well, one of the things I would say has nothing to do with people. It has more to do with geography. And, 4 of the people who have applied, 4, our last person is where? Is he on the map here?
Where do you live?
On Cordova.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Are on the other side of the lake.
Correct, so, Mr. Feldman, Mr. Benzinger,
Yes,
Mr. Osborne, and Emma are all on.
yes. And there are already, 3 members of the council.
Lisa is also over there as well. She's on Essex.
Oh, yeah, okay, got it, yep.
Yep.
And there are already 3 members of the council who are on that side of the lake, so it seems like
There are. Great.
1, 2, 3. We live in the same neighborhood, 3. Four. Oh, you're there too?
On that side.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. Sorry, we're all there.
Neighbor.
Oh, well, cool. So that's my only concern. Does it look odd? I mean, do we have, is half the lake, one half of the lake different than the other half, enough that we have to have representation?
Itself is considerably different than the rest of the lake.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, that's kind of my look, so, yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes.
yeah. So that's one of the things I think we need to consider.
Well, anybody else?
I just wanted to emphasize that there is a considerable difference. In Forest 2 and the rest of the lake. Forest 2 is very, except for me, I don't see them represented anywhere.
Yeah.
And yet they gotta, abide by the same decisions and rules that we lay down.
And Mr. Osborne would live in the Forest 1 subdivision.
Forest 1.
Yeah, he lives on the other side of DeQuesta, and, your neighbor obviously lives in Forest 2 with you.
Well, I've looked, I'm actually very happy to have 7 people to choose from.
Don't mind.
And, I know that we have more than one position to fill. I do like to have somebody that has had previous experience. And, I see that Carrie, can you say it, Beringer? Beringer? Beringer. Okay. Has been on our, planning commission And, I have a little bit of a soft spot because when I first got involved back in 2003, they asked me to do what you folks are doing, and I went to the meeting, and I thought I was gonna be on the council, and I wasn't. But I did start on the planning commission. So they said, and I think it applies if you have some experience. Then when you start understanding what's going on, it makes it better.
Having started on the planning commission myself, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
So did I.
so my choice would be Ms. Barringer.
So, gee.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And and I get to pick.
Not yet, either.
Well, I just have
Unless
to
we're
say.
slow to move.
Unless I say no.
I was planning on waiting until February first anyway, so
There you go, let him do it.
February first, it's not our problem anymore.
So they're only mad at Dave and not us, huh?
So with your
Huh.
consent, that's who I,
Are you only choosing one?
yes, because I know that we have qualified people. I didn't get a chance to look at all.
Oh, got it, okay, I just was curious why.
So, for that right now, because then we can all sit back and go, okay. Now, for the next meeting, we can pick someone else. Because there are other positions that we could use them on.
And keeping in mind, we're opening positions on the planning commission that we're gonna have to fill.
That's what I mean. There's a whole
Two
bunch,
more people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
right?
two, yeah,
So someone could go on the planning commission and then someone else be on the council.
And we're gonna have more openings on the council.
Yes, we are. So,
oh, yeah. Mhm.
so that's my suggestion for now. And then, after, if we accept Ms. Barringer, then, Barringer, I'll get it right. One of these days
I'll get him, it's okay.
Like the wine.
Then we'll go from there.
So what are we supposed to say?
Well, you can agree or not agree.
Okay, I just wondered how we did it, that's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
You would need to make a motion.
essentially, yeah, we
Need a
need a
motion.
motion.
You need a
accept
motion to
it.
fill the vacancy.
So that's my motion.
All right, 2 tonight, that's something.
Well, yeah. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Shannon.
Hang on, I gotta write down.
Any further discussion?
And it's, the motion is to appoint.
Yes. To fill in Charlie Keel's term. I have to say which term, don't I? Right.
Yes.
Because that one doesn't get reelected until 2027.
Yeah. Good point.
No, it'd be the
No.
next ballot.
Next ballot,
So because
Canvas.
Charlie's term doesn't expire till 2027,
right,
whoever is appointed will have to run, or they don't have to, but
yeah,
at this November's election for the remainder of the term.
yes,
Because Al
Oh,
Davis's
got it.
term expired January of 2025. Whomever gets appointed to that position serves until the end of that term. It's a little bit convoluted because
oh, that's right, yep,
Yep.
when
yep, because it's got,
Charlie's seat will be on the November ballot for the remainder,
Mhm.
and as soon as that election is canvassed and certified, that person then fills in immediately. They don't wait till the turnover in
Right.
January. So they could realistically start in December or, November if we have a late meeting. Kind of like the townships, you start in November after you get elected, so. Typically, the terms don't start till January.
kind of happened with Brent, right?
Me too, all of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No, I didn't get appointed.
yeah.
No,
No,
you didn't? You
Bob
ran,
and Carol
got
got
elected.
appointed.
Oh, Bob and Carol.
But
Yeah,
it was like that same year anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all three of us, yeah. Yeah,
Not to like waste time, but I mean, you said we have 4 people here, or 3,
I believe 3 of the applicants are here tonight.
3.
Marlon, Charles, Lisa, I know are not. Well, I believe Drew is.
Do you think we go around and just maybe have like a 2-minute,
Good.
like maybe kind of just say a little bit about yourself? Cause we do, you know, if we take Gary, then we're gonna have a planning commission seat, so we still have two more seats.
Right.
Right, so we
You
can
know,
decide. Yep.
The fact that we have three people here is a good, you know,
Good idea.
first step.
Yeah.
Don't we have an opening on the planning commission currently?
No.
No.
Is that full? Oh, there was one short.
Nope. Okay.
But you're good in a minute.
Yes.
Gary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they're here, so I mean, if we can, you know, learn, I don't know anybody, so, you know, it'd be a good, like, good introduction and know some more about you and
Yeah.
move your name to the top of the pile.
we're gonna separate.
Yeah.
Anybody want to start?
No,
Go ahead.
I'm emo, I go by Joe, much easier for everybody. It's just spelled funny.
Sumalina.
I recently moved up here, we purchased a house, end of June, moved here, 4th of July weekend. I haven't been able to start attending any meetings, I'm normally, really involved in the, community as much as I can. I've been the zoning and planning commissioner in Belvedere Township for 7 or 8 years. You know, did a lot there, did a lot of other community activities, fundraisers, like I said, was really involved. We sold our house down there so we could get rid of our last child. It was just the wife and I up here now. That
Just sell the house to get it, you know?
Tell everybody.
Sorry, we sold.
Gotta move on. We gotta be out much, buddy. I mean, yeah, that worked out good. We did give them a nice severance package. We just.
Nice.
But we've been looking at this area for a while, and, it's much closer to my oldest son, who just lived down here on 20, and, we're, you know, got a but about a year. We've had our first granddaughter, so we moved up here, so it's much closer, we can be more involved in her life.
Where's Belvedere
Six Lakes.
Township?
6 Lakes.
Oh, Six
Yeah.
Lakes, I already knew that.
Yeah, I don't know where Belvedere came from. I've asked that. Nobody
Yeah.
down there seems to know, you know, but yeah, it's 6
Okay.
Lakes.
There's a
Yep,
Butler.
got it,
Right.
okay,
Cool, thank you.
thank you.
Then we have someone else? Yep.
Jason Benziger,
Okay.
4020 Castle Lane North. We moved here a year and a half ago. We didn't move very far. We lived over on Wayman Road, between Zion and Vandegar. Was there for 18 years. My daughter graduated and went to U of M, and we, wanted to find a place on the lake. I've been at JBS Contracting for 23 years as construction manager. I own my own home inspection business, Accurate Home Inspections. As far as being on any type of a board, I necessarily haven't been, but I'm interested in being a part, getting in with that community, doing my part to keep this place, this village thriving. And that's about it. I think some of my qualities as a leader, owning my own business and being a leader as a construction manager, beneficial in the leadership of a council. But
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You want to hear from Gary too?
Yeah.
Hello. My name's Carrie Fancher. I am originally from Minnesota, Rochester, it's the Mayo Clinic.
I know where it is. Duluth.
I moved up here from Grand Rapids when I married my husband back in 2017. He's lived on the lake since like 2010. We have two kids, a 1.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. So they were almost here, but it's a little close to bedtime, so I didn't want to ruckus. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Before I retired, I worked in healthcare for about 15 years. My last part, I worked 10 years in cytogenetic technology, which is it's genetic studies of cancer and also like prenatal care. So I worked down at Spectrum for a few years. And then before that, I also lived in Montana and I lived in Seattle. And I trained at the Mayo Clinic. So I kind of bounced around while I was single, just experiencing it because it was a recession-proof job. So it afforded me that. But yeah, I've been wanting to get involved in the community through the kind of government process. It's been a little hard to break through. So just being new up here. But it finally kind of seemed to start rolling in the last couple of years, so I'm grateful for that.
I believe she expressed interest but didn't apply when we appointed Carol and Bob. Is that correct? Last time we did?
I believe so.
Yeah, I remember an email from you.
I might have been pregnant or busy.
So you're saying it might have been a mistake?
She took it back.
Take it back, I take it back, I take it back. Okay,
We have a motion on the table.
yes.
Okay.
The motion on the table to accept, is there a second? You
I
seconded it?
did. We're all set. I just wanted to remind you that. I'm ready to
ma'am.
write.
So, any discussion? By anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Okay.
opposed say no. Motion carries. Welcome aboard.
It's nice meeting all of you.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I agree.
And I separated my things and these are yours, so. You're
Me
on
too.
this side of my stack. Cause you're here, I got to meet you like some other people, I don't know. That's good. I like meeting new people too.
Okay,
One
down.
question, sir.
yes, sir.
If you're not gonna fill the other one tonight, my recommendation would be to not advertise again. You've
Right.
got a healthy.
Right, we
candidate
have
pool,
a great pool.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I don't want it, I wanna think about it a little more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I get from you guys, right?
Mhm. I would.
Yeah. And then, would either of you guys be willing to be on the planning commission? Because there is a vacancy on that with Carrie's appointment here.
I would be, I would really rather, be part of the village, just,
Right,
what the change of venue for me.
yeah,
It's the natural progression as far
Sure.
as.
Sure, that makes sense.
But if there's a need and there's a better candidate for the council, I would gladly work with the planning commission.
Okay.
Given it's somebody that, is more suitable or,
Sure.
whatnot, but given my druthers, like I said, just the natural progression for me would be to work with the council.
Trouble with you is you're qualified, dude. I said, trouble with you is you're qualified
I
for the
know.
planning commission.
I've been told many times throughout my life, which I never believe or understand, that I was overqualified for a number of positions that paid much better than what I was making. But they told me that I was overqualified and they couldn't justify hiring me. I was like, I'll sign a waiver.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, you just want to be involved, which is
Yeah.
what we're trying to do is we're trying to gin that up.
Yeah.
Because we're all old except for that guy.
Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna leave it to him, so. Oh, well, he doesn't.
You've
have to
aged before my
tell me.
eyes. Your beard never used to have any gray in it.
No, it did not.
It
It wouldn't if I remembered if I died.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
It is kind of.
Okay.
It's a good learning.
So I would like if others next time to come.
Right.
Yeah, we can ask.
Because it does help to meet people. Although you were at the,
Restoration.
yes, so I remember you talking there as well, yes. But it does help to meet people, to see faces and personalities and.
Yep,
You're good, I gotta go do something real quick.
okay, any other public comments?
One thing I forgot about the election,
Oh yeah, get used to this.
well, one thing that's a little different this time in February is there's gonna be 3 ballots to choose from. You can choose Republican ballot, Democrat ballot, or there's gonna be a ballot out there that has just the millage question only. So you know, if you didn't want to vote for presidential primary stuff at all, but only wanted to vote on the other one, you can. Also, whatever party you're registered with, you do not have to take that ballot. You can cross over and vote on the other ballot. So like I'm a Republican right now, I could pick and choose and vote on the Democrat ballot. Just so that people are aware of that. You're not locked into what you are registered as, so. But I just wanted to let people know that there's 3 ballots to work with.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. Well, just in New Hampshire.
No, okay, any council comments? Announcements?
Fairness in that.
Okay, seeing none, we stand adjourned.